All right, guys, it's time for the Daily Debate. Here we go. The hashtag Daily Debate question 4 at MMA Junkie Radio. That's social media talk. That's the way it is. Which hashtag UFC 238 fight has the best chance of producing the next title challenger in its weight class? Ferguson versus Cerrone. So they would get the winner of Habib versus Poirier. That fight set. Suarez versus Ansarov. They would get Jessica Andrade. Sterling versus Munoz, they would get the winner of the main event that night, Cejudo and Moraes. Or Calderwood versus Chukagian, they would get the winner of the co-main event that night between I and
Valentina Shevchenko.
Yeah, not I as in me.
Yeah.
Jessica and Valentina Shevchenko. Go ahead, guys.
I'm going to go Calderwood and Chukagian. Only because there's nobody else. Who else are you going to give that title shot to? I can break it down if you want. Let's look at this, all right? Cerrone Ferguson, who's the wild card? Conor McGregor. He could ruin that, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
To me,
George St. Pierre also.
I feel like George St. Pierre. I feel like that should be the answer, but we never know. And especially the way Dana White's been interviewing this week, you really just never know. As far as Ansarov, not bad. Munoz and Sterling, we don't know what's going on with the flyweight division. We don't know what the hell's going on there. If Henry wins, if Moraes wins, yeah, I'd feel pretty comfortable, but I think the most comfortable answer is Calderwood and Chukagian. That's my answer.
You know, Dana White did do an interview where he said that Cejudo is interested in defending both if he wins them both.
That's what they all say.
Whole other subject, but all right. How about you, Dan?
Man, I feel like I want to say Ferguson Cerrone for all the reasons that I kind of say on this show on how, in my opinion, Ferguson is already the uncrowned champion. There's an unofficial title already on the line. So with that being said, those guys should have the stakes as far as numbers. But I kind of think it fell between two of the female fights. I'll tell you why I didn't go with yours, though, Goes. Because I see why the flyweights, it's easy because there's not a lot of room between the top. But guess what, man? I was looking back at Valentina Shevchenko's record. She has this TKO stoppage loss, you know, to Liz Carmouche. And Liz Carmouche has constantly been in the history book. She's not done. She's undefeated at this weight class. It's dropping down. And I feel like you could have a really good chance of her being a contender. You know, we're talking about they're cutting people without exciting styles, and some people are speculating that's why Chukagian and Calderwood are on this lower end. Maybe not so much the Calderwood side, maybe the Chukagian side of things.
Interesting
So
take.
if Chukagian wins, maybe they put Liz Carmouche there. So for that reason, I'm actually going to go with Suarez versus Ansarov. Even if Ansarov gets the crazy upset, there's just not a lot of contention traffic in that division. So I actually could see them, especially if this question was worded for first, but this is best chance. So it's probably between the top two. I'll go with Suarez and Ansarov.
All right. I'm going to go with Sterling and Munoz, and I believe that it was so close that these guys actually weighed in at 135 today, because had one of the others not been able to do it, right away we could have submitted them. So I think what we have is a clear number 1 and number 2 here. Challenger, contender, whatever you want to call them. And because they're on the same timeline as the eventual champion, it's almost like you can just forecast and say, he looks pretty healthy, I look pretty healthy. How about UFC 240? Whatever, fill in the blank. We got ourselves a fight, and next thing you know, they're off and running. With Ferguson and Cerrone, there's the Conor effect. With Ansarov and Suarez, there's the effect that Rose looked good before getting slammed, and she went to Brazil, and I believe that those two facts score points with the promotion, who may want to run back the rematch. And with Calderwood and Chukagian, I didn't even think, I'm not even going to steal Dan's shine on the point of Carmouche, because I know Valentina would probably want to get that one back. But more on just the fact that Valentina, I think, still has Amanda Nunes maybe on a radar. I think she's conceded maybe once out of the 10 times I've asked her that 15 would be a possibility, but it would be like a wreck to her body, you know, because she's not statuesque like 30. She was never statuesque like 35er per se, but she's chasing history, and so I'm thinking more like upwards towards that third shot she wants versus Nunes, because she's very clear to point out that she's lost twice to Nunes, but not 2 title fights to Nunes. Big difference from like what Anderson Silva was staring at against Chris Weidman, or Joseph Benavidez was staring at with Mighty Mouse. Yeah, it was in 2 title fights. So I'm going with that one.
Okay.
But this is how it broke down. We're all wrong, because Ferguson and Cerrone was the most popular vote there by Junkie Nation, the readers of the site, and the listeners of the show. They got 76% of it. 16% agreed with Dan, Tom, Suarez, and Ansaroff. 6% agreed with myself, Sterling and Munoz. 2% agreed with Goes, Calderwood, and Chukagian. But that was a fun one.